So first things first, at the stand for Lost Ruins of Arnak, the Missing Expedition, we could see a nice layout of the game and a lovely box cover here as well. I'm going to show you in a second. The art looks great. You can see the two new characters on it, and you can see that a lot of real work's gone into making this artwork look really nice, and the design's great. And straight away you can see that the characters are on the table, and there's some really cool looking mechanics. So we're going to get into them right now. So this first picture you see here is the journalist. He is a completely new character with a rather large board, bigger than most of the ones you will see in the the previous expansion, and he comes with quite a lot of stuff, as you can see, and his deck card bit on the left, and quite an interesting little bit in the middle there, in the light brown, showing that his book can actually go one step ahead of his magnifying glass, which is very unique in this game. No one else can do this ability. So he has a very unique ability there on the off. You can move his book one step ahead of his magnifying glass, but only one step. It can't go any further. That was clarified by the designers to me when I asked. He also, as you can see, has got 4 slots at the top for his artifacts, and actually he has more on the other side of his board, which you need to get by doing his kind of newspaper things, which I'm about to show you now. Here's the first off is the image of him just showing clearer that he can move his book one step ahead, and then this on the right is his newspaper journalist stuff. There's 2 different slots you have on here. The left one has 5 things on and the right one has 5 things on, and there's not just a couple, there's about 5 or 6 different ones, so you can slot them in depending on how you want to play the game. I believe these have to be done at the start of the game, but I'm not 100% sure. They did not clarify. They said they're still working on some finer details of the rules and things, but it looks like you choose these at the start, slot them into the holes in the plate, and then you have them for the whole game. Each of the 5 things can get covered up by these little newspaper pieces that you can see at the top of the board, and if you can get 4 in a row, that will open up one of the new artifact slots on the right. So to get both of them, you have to fill up 8 slots, and they have to be the top 4 and then the middle 4. The bottom 2 don't add towards that opening up of the new artifact slots. So obviously they're cool to have if you want them, but they then may mean you have to play a certain way to get those open. But there's a lot of options on here for what you can do. As you can see on the 2 on the board, there's like a double removal of cards to get rid of 2 fear cards quick and stuff. There's coins, there's defeating monster stuff, there's putting a card down for red gems, there's even 3 white tablets, and on the ones further up you can see that there's a few other things like a green and a blue. There's like discard a card and get a card and all sorts of stuff. And as you can see, the slots are a bit bigger here. So this is what the slots look like without anything in them. And then as we go on, we will look at how this slots in, and it's a bit closer. As you can see, the 5 things in a bit more detail. You get some discount on cards, you can get upgrading stuff, you can get extra cards into your hand. So the variability with this character is huge. A really cool and interesting looking character. And then on another picture here, we've got another different type of tile you can have in there, which has got coins and then a boot movement, a green, the defeating a monster or flipping a monster for a red, and a boot to defeat a monster. So you've got obviously the one on the left with the brown arrow up, I think is the refresher monster of yours. So if you've got a monster you've used with a particularly good power, then you get to use that again. So that was the journalist, and we're going to now move on to the next person. The next character we have is the mechanic. She is a dungaree wearing mechanic with some really cool goggles on, and looks really funky. As you can see from the character art, it's not the best photo, apologies, it's got a bit of glare on it, so didn't get a brilliant shot of that, my mistake. And as you can see here, her monkey helper, who's known as Rusty, he has a grey side which lets you move the cog on the wheel 1 space and take a grey action from that. And on the wheel, the grey action only lets you take 1 of the actions. But if you get to the gold, you can use the gold actions you have located on it, and you can also take the other actions as well. I believe you can take 3 actions if you have gold, but it was either 2 or 3. They were a bit unsure on how the wording of that was going, so I think you could potentially have 3, but maybe it's only going to be 2. But either way, the gold gives you a lot more stuff, and as you can see, these gold tokens slot in and out and can be interchangeable again, a bit like the journalist, giving you massive variability on how you play and how you build your specific engine for this character. So these characters bring with them a lot of different stuff. It looks really interesting. The video here shows that I'm moving pieces out and moving, turning the board. It's really cool and it looks really fun, and it's definitely the first character I'm going to try out when I get the game and the expansion. So next up we have the campaign stuff. As you can see from this card, which again I've got a really bad picture of, but the card's on the board, and on the left it's got search it, and on the right it's got give them a break. These options are also given symbols in the bottom corners. One's a heart and one's like a yellow thing. I think the yellow thing stands for greed. The heart stands for caring and looking after people. So these choices affect the way you go through the adventure. Now I have a picture of the campaign booklet itself. So as you can see, the yellow things move you along the yellow track. The red will move you along the red track. If you move along the yellow track, that greed track, that's worse for you in the end, and you'll end up getting negative consequences somewhere down the line. If you're more caring and compassionate and do the caring route, then you're more likely to get cool, good things on that path. But sometimes you need the resources to do stuff, so you may be desperate and want the greed option, but you may not want to take that option for the long-term benefits you're going to end up with. So it's really up to you how you play, and really interesting mechanic that changes the path you take. As you can see, this doesn't look that complicated, but actually it does give you a hell of a lot of options and a ton of variability. And then here's another card with achievements on it that you can try and aim for to get in your campaign. Now there is apparently various ones of these, so this is just one example I got shown. Things like repairing a plane gets you some cool stuff. It says question mark. So I don't know what those benefits are. It doesn't really say. It says you get a repaired plane card into the deck. Customer of the year, you get to put a soda pop card in the deck. And the bottom one, climb to the summit, you get to put an owl idol into the deck as well. So you get things as you go if you hit achievements, and they can increase your deck building possibilities. There's also new tokens for things like these birds, which seems to be a free action. I wasn't 100% sure where they came into play. It looks like they're from the campaign somewhere, but that wasn't explained to me. I did ask, and I didn't really understand what they said, to be honest. So here are some of the new potential monsters that you may come across in your campaign that will show up throughout the game. This one takes a card down and 2 greens, not too difficult. Looks a bit like a dragon. The next one looks a bit like a pterodactyl. Takes a plain and 2 whites. Gives you a green. That seems quite nice, not too bad. And this guy who looks kind of like an old gemmed decaled kind of lion type thing. Takes 2 blue to defeat, but gives you an extra card. So these extra monsters look really cool as well, and really interesting. And then next up we have some extra tiles for islands. As you can see, these islands are for the campaign. The card on the right is one of the campaign's levels cards. So when you get this, you will get a green and you'll take a card for that level. So that will help you do story and negotiate some kind of path for yourself, like the cards I showed you before. Here's another one that gives you a yellow and a green, but then also gives you one of the double dotted green icons. So that I'm assuming is level 2. And then as you go along, there's a couple more. I've got this one here, which gives you the 3 pips red colour and a white stone. So that gives you another card from a different piece of the campaign. And then here is another one for the 4th part, with gives you a blue and a green 4-pipped card. So again, that's kind of campaign specific stuff, which looks really interesting, and it's going to add a lot of variability to your game. Here's the 5th one with a fear and a red and a level 5 card. And then we're going on to the new helpers. I can't ever remember what these guys are called. So the first one up is a guy who gives you like a white and a bike. or a bike even. And if you make him gold, you'll get a green and a bike. The woman there with the kind of animal, I can't really see what the animal is very well, but it gives you a green, and then if you flip it over, you get a coin, and I think that's to reuse any monster you want and reflip them over. Don't quote me on that though, because I can't remember fully. Then we've got a clearer picture of that woman a little bit. It looks kind of like a tiger, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's something else. Then there's a guy with a kind of white and blue vest on. He just gets rid of a card, and then when he's gold, he'll give you a card. And then there's a kind of old looking pirate woman who's upgrade or use a ship. And then if she's gold, you get a green or a ship. So they seem really cool and nice to have extra stuff in the box. So now we're on to looking at the tracks up the new kind of temple tracks. There is two sides to this board. One is kind of very cavernous and like a cave, and you can get benefits on your way through this cave. And it looks really unique and different to what we've seen so far, and kind of more what you'd expect to see on a kind of dungeony crawl with someone looking through tombs and things. There was a lot of glare by the stand, so it was really hard to get a good picture. This is kind of the whole thing. Hopefully you can see a bit of it. And as you can see, about 2 or 3 levels in, there's some stuff you can get for putting down your idol symbols on here instead of on your board. So you can defeat a monster, you can activate a level 1 site, you can get a 2 cost reduction in the cost of an item, and then maybe get add a card. I can't see what that is, it's not clear. And then also you get to take any artifact for free, it looks like. Doesn't look like it's a cost reduction, it looks like a free artifact, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so please don't quote me. And it looks like obviously the first person there will get that benefit of their choosing, and then the next person will have to choose a different one if they want to use it. So this is a very interesting, unique mechanic for this side of the board. And then we have a different side. The other side, as you can see here, again, sorry for the glare, it's not ideal for the pictures, but here we have some different kind of waterfall scene, which is really cool looking, and it has like little tiles on, which I'm not sure you can see from the picture, but some of the levels have got 2 ways of going up, and when you try to go up, the waterfall token moves across, and this is then blocking that one where you've gone, and the other person coming next has to choose a different path to you. And there's also, it's hard to see on the picture, but up some of the sides on the left hand side, there's some waterfalls you can climb up and take an alternate route, but they're quite expensive, it seems, like a red, a blue and a white, instead of your regular kind of smaller costs to get up at near the top. But you can take those shortcuts if you want to pay the extra resources. Maybe that'll work out more efficient for you and your build and what you've got going on. And there's also some little tracks you can put on the side for the book and the compass thing, the what's it called, the magnifying glass. These are put on and have been told for campaign. So there's one here that was on display. I'm not sure if there's more than one going to be in the box, but this one looks like it's for the green level 2 pip level, and it gives you different rewards than what you would regularly get for going up the temple, and that goes over the board to give you a different set of benefits when you're doing that level. So that'll mix up the gameplay a little bit in quite an interesting way as well. And that's pretty much everything that I've learned about the Arnak expansion. I've tried to give you a bit of an overview of everything, and hopefully you've managed to see something you wanted to see and something new. And then at the end, finally, I got to see the designers, Min and Elwin. My wife and I met them. We talked to them for quite a while. They showed us the game, and their passion and enthusiasm for the game and their love for what they do was really clear to see. They were super happy to show us. They were super happy to tell us about the game, and they loved what they'd made, which was awesome to see. And one thing I found amazing was that this is the first game that they've ever designed. So how they've made such an amazing game for a first design is incredible. So thanks to those guys for showing me and for letting me see a sneak peek at what's in line for Arnak and the upcoming expansion. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll try and answer whatever you've got. So obviously I've tried to cover everything, but I may have missed something. Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.